Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to episode 42 of the Stream Bucket podcast.
Yes, and I literally just noticed this second that I'm not hungover, and this is already so much easier.
Oh! Do we normally do it when you're hungover?
We did last time.
Oh, yes.
And then the night shifts and stuff. It's always a struggle, but my brain seems to be working at least 30% more efficiently.
Oh!
Alcohol is bad?
Alcohol's not bad. It's the hangover that's bad.
Yeah.
And it's people... you're bad at it. And I've managed to get around it most times. But when you're stuck in the hangover and you can't get rid of it...
Yeah, it's just there.
Last week I had it, but normally I'm alright. But you're... It's funny. Just the doors are closed after drinking in this flat. Oh, everyone's dead. Okay.
I have to exist. I have to have people bring food to me twice if possible, and that's where I'll stay. But now I'm healthy. It's good. We are good to go for a very good episode.
Yay! Woo!
Yes. Fantastic.
There's a lot to talk about as well. There's lots of stuff going on. I don't know whether it's just being focused on reading more, looking around more.
This week, everything's come up. Not only is there stuff on our end to talk about, like Fortnite Schmortnite was the easiest thing ever for the first time in ages. The last couple of weeks I've been... Oh, that's got cancelled.
Right.
Oh, that's got cancelled. Oh, that's got cancelled.
Yes.
So, yeah. Good things are happening.
It's almost... It does feel like there's more news. I'm seeing more stuff. More stuff that I'm going, ooh, or, no. Which will come up later, I believe. But yeah, so we've got a jam-packed episode, as they say, on the Screen Bucket episode. But first of all, what have you been doing, Robert, in the last 2 weeks since we heard from you?
In the last 2 weeks, well, we had... We had a premiere!
Oh!
The premiere!
The Quoggers premiere.
The thing we've been talking about since day one. We've done it. It's done.
Was it day one?
Maybe day 4.
Yeah.
Maybe week 5.
It was close to it though, wasn't it? Yes. But yes, we'll talk more on that.
Yeah.
Later. But yes, the premiere, very exciting. I'm sure a lot of our listeners probably were there anyway.
Yes.
So thank you so much for those who came. For those who didn't.
Anyway, we're going to talk about it.
Yes. What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've been knife throwing with Josh. I engaged in Mulan karaoke. I had an argument with his clown doll. This is why drinking is not drinking is fantastic. As we said, some of you might have heard in the night shift last weekend. We drank lots and lots of White Russians all day, and by the end of the evening, I was sat on the floor in our hallway. Josh was drawing some sort of satanic ring around me to protect me.
I think it was a protection spell.
Okay, it was a protection spell to protect me from his clown, which had threatened to cut off my genitals. And he had written all of these weird pagan symbols on my door. I threw the clown out the back door because I was sick of him.
This was described in detail on our Stream Bucket Night Shift, our Patreon exclusive podcast.
Yeah, apart from that, I've been existing. I've edited another behind the scenes of Quoggers, which you will be able to watch Friday.
Yes, indeed. Released publicly on Friday. You've also been working again. Which has taken a lot of your time, then. Right then, I just saw your soul escape.
I don't like it. Don't like it.
Away from home?
No. Hate it.
It's funny because in the corner of my eye, I do watch Rob either melts to the floor as the day goes on, or he's just up and moving around and shuffling. I counted the other day. He had some soup. Rob had some soup in a cup, right? And he drank it. He went. And he puts it down. 1, 2, up, down. 1, 2, up, down, 1, 2. Oh, down, 1, 2. 2 seconds every time on the dot. Just hold it in your hand or put it down until it cools down.
Carrot and coriander is the best flavour of the soups. One of the top 3.
So hold it.
But you don't. I sit in the corridor and I can see Adam enjoying his chair and enjoying his job, and I can see Josh festering on his stupid bed, and I'm sat there in the middle on this stumpy little uncomfortable chair getting these stupid tasks which I can't do because I'm too stupid.
Oh no.
They're just too complicated and I don't understand, and then I can't describe to the people who are meant to be helping me what's going on because it's so ridiculously complex. And that's 5 days a week. And the rest of the time when I'm not doing that, I'm sat there doing nothing, staring into an empty screen, and the sound of silence is playing in my mind, and I wish I was dead.
Oh no.
And that's why I have to get up. That's why I have to do the washing up. That's why I have to scream sometimes. That's why I have to scream.
Scream a lot.
Yeah, that's why I have to scream.
There's a video I made of, I don't know whether to share, I probably shouldn't, of Rob singing Take Me Home Country Roads.
Yeah.
Wailing into the abyss as you fell slumped over the desk.
It's a fucking moment of hell. Just in case some reason a boss of mine hears this, I do like my job, I just don't like working from home.
Yeah, I think, do you know what though? I think a lot of people have that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle with it.
Yeah.
I
can't, and just to emphasise, I'm not complaining. I know I'm very lucky to have a job, and I know some people have lost their jobs. Just to get that out of the way, I'm very happy and grateful. But it sucks.
Yeah. Oh well. Only another 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years. I think that's when the Olympics isn't even happening next year now. So.
Still, there's lots to watch and do and read and write and be creative and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
What have I been doing?
Yeah, what have you have done one thing embarrassing, please.
Working on a project, but not much. Oh my god. See, it is getting to.
The thing I like the most about our little flat thing at the moment is we've got a little show and tell thing going on where we'll go to a shop and we'll bring back a food none of us have cooked before.
Oh yeah, that's happening.
You brought chorizo back into the party, I brought black pudding back into the party, and it's now like, ooh, what is it going to be next time?
We love cylinders in this flat. We love long, round,
we do,
cheap cylinders of meat.
Yeah, we do. We also love spinach.
Yes.
Anyway, that's definitely a time to move on to the next segment. I've mentioned our favourite bag of salad.
God. I'm still waiting for my Easter egg, by the way.
Oh, shut the... I'll get you your damn Easter egg, alright?
Well, come on now,
I'm in lockdown. I can't go to the shop because we've got to defrost the freezer today. This is turning into a horrible three-way marriage.
It's a domestic... let's move on. They came to party.
Get away from me, Ray.
They came from outer space. But for these unhappy campers,
just put this thing on.
Things are about to get slimy. If you go down to the woods today, you'd better keep an eye out for Quoggers. They're mean, they're insane, and they're everywhere. And they've got an appetite for naughty campers. Starring Jodie Bennett, Bailey Pilbeam, Isabel Allbutt, and Blake Aiden. Quoggers. They're everywhere.
We are not going back in that tent.
So, the Quoggers premiere.
Yeah, man.
10th of April, Friday, Good Friday. We held the live premiere, the live streamed online premiere of Quoggers.
Yes, the moment we've been waiting for. Many of you will know that we were originally going to have it at the Queen Mother Theatre in Hitchin, but because of current circumstances, we had to improvise.
Yes, indeed. I think we got to the point where we just wanted to get it out there. I know I've said on here, I think, that I just wanted to get it done and out the way and finished.
Yeah.
And compartmentalise it, gone.
Yeah.
Put next product. So I think we were desperate to just get it out there. People kept asking when they're going to get to see it. Okay, fine, we'll work it out. So I had this idea of doing a live stream that we can still charge for, because we still need to pay off some expenses. Very hard to find.
Yeah, I thought it would be like
suspiciously hard to find.
A one-stop place and done, and you had to do a bit of rummaging.
Oh, so live streaming's been a thing for ages, but most of the live streaming things seem to be like on a tip-based thing. So Twitch, Twitch.
Yeah.
They operate where it's free, but you can subscribe to people and they get money or donate bits to them and stuff like that. There's no like pay-per-view, as far as I could tell. It's really weird. I'd like dedicated websites have to do it. So eventually I found a like business conferencing website which sort of links to YouTube. It's very fiddly. I didn't like it, but now I know, which is quite cool. So we use Cleeng.
Cleeng. It sounds like Kang and Kodos's weird cousin.
Yes, it sounds like Lord Emperor Cleeng
Of the Galarian Milky Galaxy.
So using that, so you'd pay to get access to the event on Cleeng, and the event on Cleeng was embedded from YouTube.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Mental.
So there's lots of fiddly things. I spent basically all day on Good Friday setting it up.
It was mad. You did very, 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 very well, mate. Because I mean, Josh was just yelling obscenities and madness from his room, and I was pacing around like, "Oh my god, we're going live in 1 hour," and you were like, "Why has that stopped working? Where's this gone? Why is this screen playing up?" And there was just one thing after the other of what the hell is going on with this thing. But you got there.
Streaming is like a. It's like you need to be praying and whispering things to the god of stream. It's like that kind of thing where you go, right, that goes in there. Why is it not working?
Right.
Why aren't you working then? Why? Please, goddess stream. Do me the honour of allowing it to work. Oh, it worked.
Yeah, it's one thing when, like, I don't know, you're wanting to get something ready on time, but with this, people would pay money, and we're like, oh my god, what if it gets delayed? Well, like in my head, I was thinking, what if it doesn't work? When people have paid to see it.
Yes,
but it was fine. It was fine.
I mean, that was the most nerve-wracking thing. But we got it. We got it there on time. We'd set ourselves up with wearing suits with bow ties.
Yeah, cheers, Dad, for dropping the bow ties around.
And cheers, Dr. Cowan, for telling us we were wearing them wrong.
Yeah, cheers, Alex.
So we had the stream set up. We made some quick videos and stuff to have us in betweeny shots. So you took some clips from the behind the scenes so we could have cut to an actor talking about what their experience was on the set. It was great. So we played the film out, got some awesome feedback. We were doing a hashtag thing on Instagram and Twitter so people could send in questions. So many questions.
Loads.
Crazy
All
amounts.
the questions.
We had loads of positive feedback, but then loads of positive questions as well. A lot of repeats. I think most of the questions were, where did you get the idea for the monsters? Or,
Yes.
the monsters are so cute. Can I have one? We had got multiple ones of those.
Yeah, we did. And there was like stuff like how hard it was and what was our easiest experience, what was our best experience with it. And it was good to kind of on the spot. I think when you're asked on the spot, sometimes you might come up with a different answer than you would if you had time to think of it. Because what always comes to my head in the filming process was trudging down that hill on the first shoot and going back up again to lift heavy things. But that was just hard work. It wasn't stressful. So it's good to have to force answers painfully out of your brain during these things.
Yes, indeed. We had lots of families watching it.
Yeah, we did.
Notice there was lots of people watching it with their mum and dad. And like, oh, what? Why? I know one of our actors. Her dad had subscribed, and she was like, "Oh, great! Oh no, the language might not be appropriate." But I think it's all fine. No one actually said any negatives about the language and stuff. My nan watched it. She's in her 90s and she had no complaints.
I mean, you have to think of Brett's little monologue, which is quite graphically illustrative. Yes. So yeah, no, I'm very glad that she didn't have an issue with that. That shows she's made of strong stuff.
She loved it. If you do want to pick up the film, you can. If you go to holidellmedia.vhx.tv, you can rent or buy the actual thing. Oh my god, the actual film! You can watch it.
Yes.
And I'm still in two minds about what to do with the Q&A, but it will turn up at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
100%.
yeah. But I'm thinking Cleeng, if you're already subscribed, you can still watch it, I think. Anyway.
Green Bucket, Adam and Rob.
Isolation. We touched on before about how if you're lucky enough to be a creative, that's the most poncy thing I've ever said in my life. If you're lucky enough to be a creative like us, you can do creative things to stay sane.
Yes.
Yeah, and those things can be anything from writing to recording things to playing an instrument to filmmaking.
Yes, and filmmaking is, that's obviously what we're about.
Yeah.
As we always talk about, how to do it, script writing and stuff. With the quarantine, there seems to be like a renaissance of things. Everyone's very aware that everyone's stuck in one place. Everyone's bored. Everyone's sort of quietly getting on. And so there's been this explosion of free film festivals.
Yep.
Or famous people asking, go make a film. Use your phone. You don't need any gear. Roger Corman, the mega famous Hollywood producer who did all the trashy and silly films, he's asked for entries to the Corman Quarantine Film Festival. Rules being use your phone, no lights, no gear, do it in 2 weeks.
Stay completely indoors, isn't it?
In your house, yep. Using just your family. That's pretty cool. We've got 2 weeks. You've got 1 week from the time this podcast goes out, so you've still got time. Look it up, Corman Challenge. We've got the Mandy, which is what we use for casting. They've got a Mandy Home Movie Fest. We can win $500 for using your phone to make a film again. Corona Short Film Festival. There's so much. On Film Freeway, which is a film competition website, there's a whole segment of free festivals dedicated to this. Things like, if you just find it now, At Home Movie Contest, Stay at Home, Coronavirus Emergency Film Festival, Corona Short Film Festival. All around the world, people are launching these things. So if you are feeling the need to create something, this is the time to do it.
It's perfect because A, you're going to, get film experts to be looking at your film, and B, it's never been easier. Everyone else has the same limitations as you do. Like, we can't use our gear. We are reduced back down to our phones and our lamps. And yeah, it's great. Everyone can get involved.
It's a level playing field.
Exactly.
Suddenly
that.
you don't have a 4K red camera and black magic thing, whatever. You've just got your iPhone.
Yeah.
Or your Android. Although, I think the Google one's pretty good. The camera quality is pretty good.
God damn it.
But still, this is the time to do it. Look it up. If you are feeling the itch to do something fun, or if you've got kids who want to do something fun, make a ruddy film.
Yep.
It could be stop motion even. You could get the Lego out, make something interesting. This is time to do it. What else have you got to do?
Yeah. Exactly.
Honestly.
We can read a book.
And here's the cool thing. Why don't we, Screen Bucket, run a film competition?
Yes, that's a fantastic idea.
A quarantine Screen Bucket film festival.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. That'll keep all of our lovely fans occupied.
Yeah, so here's the thing. So what should we say? 1 minute, 2 minutes?
1 to 2 minutes.
Okay. Just say max 2 minutes.
Maximum 2 minutes.
Yeah, max 2 minutes, filmed on your phone. Can be about anything. Can be comedy, horror, suspense.
Romance.
Documentary.
Yeah.
Erotica.
Ooh. Especially erotica.
Maybe, okay. Maybe not. Stop motion. Anything you want.
Softcore erotica.
Okay, just the story.
Yes, just the story of the erotica.
I cannot afford to fix the sink.
Oh, then you must come to my sink fixing shop where I was.
Anyway, so yes, we'll launch some details on Twitter. So do follow us at @screen_bucket, and on the day of the release of the podcast, we'll be announcing the details and we'll iron that all out.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Let's do it.
Cool. You'll have 2 weeks.
Yep. There'll be a prize.
There'll be a prize.
There'll be a prize.
We'll work that out
make
later.
a prize. There'll be a fantastic prize. We'll get Josh to make it.
Yes.
We'll make him make a prize. The first Holodell prize ever. It'll be worth millions in the future.
20 minutes in a cupboard with Josh.
Not after last time.
Adam's Film Reviews. Extraordinary 2019.
Why don't we see ghosts every day?
Leave me alone.
Most hauntings are so small, they go unnoticed.
Hi, this is Rose's driving school.
Maybe you could have a chat with my daughter, just to find out what's up with her. My name is Martin.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Martin, she's floating. She's floating, Martin.
I know.
What is evil?
Coming, my sweet. I'm doing an incantation. Now! Hear me, powers of the night! The blood moon is nigh!
This bloody moon better make me bloody rich.
This is a satanic ritual.
Satanists?
I woke up in the morning.
To break the spell, we need ectoplasm. You just have to let the ghost inhabit your body.
Like in Ghostbusters.
Oh, I haven't read that.
The plot thickens.
Why does it have to be so unnecessarily gross?
Black magic!
Written and directed by Mike Ahern and Ender Loffman, Extraordinary is a paranormal comedy horror, and I guarantee you won't find a more cosy horror film this year. Introducing Rose Dooley, played by Maeve Higgins, something like that, a distressingly single driving instructor somewhere in Ireland. Despite her best efforts, Rose is known locally for her work with the paranormal. In fact, between her and her late father, she was quite the ghostbuster in her day. See, she has this talent to speak with the dead, but has long since given up on this since the day her father died, instead focusing on driving lessons and trying her best to avoid the hauntings that surround her every day. Then there's Martin to be precise, played by Barry Ward. Martin is a single father to the teenage Sarah, played by Emma Coleman, after the passing of his wife Bonnie. Except Bonnie hasn't quite passed over. She remains in the house, haunting her family with passive-aggressive threats, demands for Martin to wear certain things, and generally remaining as a nag and thorn in Martin's side. Eventually, thanks to the insistence of Sarah, Martin reaches out to Rose after hearing of her powers. Posing as someone in need of driving lessons, Martin meets with Rose and eventually asks her whether she can help remove the spirit of Bonnie. But Rose brushes him off and asks him to leave the car, but still, Rose has taken a liking to Martin, prompting her to start learning more about him. Meanwhile, a local American rock star who's recently moved to the area, and certainly not for tax reasons, Christian Winter, played by Will Forte, and his wife Claudia, played by Claudia O'Doherty, are attempting to reignite his fame and fortune by releasing a new album. But not before sacrificing a virgin to the demon Astaroth. It's doing fairly well. He's got a castle, he's got a virgin. When Claudia accidentally explodes the virgin sacrifice, it's up to Christian to find a new one. When he stumbles on Rose stalking Martin, Christian lays his eyes on Sarah and finds his next sacrifice. Later, when the spell causes Sarah to fall into a levitating coma, Martin begs Rose to help, forcing her to shake off the cobwebs as they get to work to break the spell, by harvesting the ectoplasm from multiple hauntings around the town. What follows is a desperate and fun series of exorcisms with the locals of the town operated by Rose and a surprisingly receptive Martin as they fight to save his daughter. But as Christian and Claudia begin to wonder what's going wrong, they soon realise that Rose is the cause of their problems and begin a campaign of magical terror on her, still hoping to make the blood moon where Christian can make his sacrifice and once again meet with fame. But will Rose and Martin save Sarah in time? Ooh! Extraordinary is a lot of fun. Rose in particular is an extremely charming and wonderful character, drawing the audience into her. Martin, too, is a great foil, and together their growing relationship is the linchpin of the whole film. The comedy lies in them dealing with the weird and wonderful world of the paranormal, set amidst the humdrum suburbs of Ireland. The buffoonish and cynical Winters, on the other hand, play off as a sort of Saturday morning cartoon villain, something I'm in full support of. I have to say too that while the film isn't really about the horror and the gore, whatever else, but the effects in the film are genuinely awesome. There's a subtlety and charm behind a lot of the shots, with some visual gags that I would count amongst some of my favourites. You know, like when the camera is all tight on the actors with dramatic acting and intense movie music, and then we pull back to the ambience and everything looks as disappointing and inane as it probably would in real life. That joke's a keeper. Extraordinary is out on Netflix, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. It's very fun, very cosy, and heartwarming to boot. Check it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were dead. Oh, my goodness.
Coming soon.
Oh, mademoiselle, would you like to have a film discussion?
Oh, yes, monsieur. I'd love to have an in-depth film discussion with you, like I do on Screen Bucket.
You are listening to the sound of a completely new screen experience, a startling new kind of excitement. As 20th Century Fox plunges you into the most incredible adventure that man could ever achieve. To make a motion picture that crosses a new frontier may seem impossible today. Outer space, the depths of the sea, the bowels of the earth, the past, the future, all have been subjects for the camera. But now, a film called Fantastic Voyage has broken through in an unexpected direction to create an adventure of astonishing suspense and beauty.
One of the miracles of the universe.
Its vital news story sweeps down from the sky. Then it drops the bottom out of the world you know and understand. As a beleaguered nation desperate for survival launches a journey you can never erase from your memory.
Last time on Screen Bucket, I chose the word heart. Heart. To choose the film for this show.
So I thought maybe you were going to go for I Heart Huckabees. I didn't ever think for one moment you were going to go for Braveheart.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite easy to go obvious. In the heart of the sea.
Yeah.
Gross. Bleh, bleh. Bilge film.
Oh, that's alright.
Yes, I Heart Huckabees. I probably would have chosen that if it was slightly different circumstances. Because it's a very thought-provoking, pretentious, rubbish, arty film.
Yep.
I don't think either of us should tolerate that right now. Also, you called me out on it last time. Git. So I have to think more laterally on this one. So, very last minute, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to choose an old childhood favourite of mine.
Yes.
Fantastic Voyage, 1966.
So I remember it being on the TV a lot as a child, and we were talking about these weird 60s films which were always on like BBC Two and stuff.
Yeah.
In the mid 90s.
I feel like in the 90s, early 90s especially, like there just wasn't any new stuff.
No.
Because my knowledge of TV, well, as a kid, is all 60s stuff.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
The Avengers.
Swiss Family Robinson was always on.
Yeah, Lost in Space.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. But yes, Fantastic Voyage. This is a film that's been parodied to death. I think certainly every sci-fi show has done it.
Every sci-fi show has done it. If you're making a cartoon that can have sci-fi elements, it's going in there.
Yep, so Futurama,
Simpsons,
Archer.
Yeah.
There were more.
There were
I can't think of any more.
Yeah, there are tons more.
But there are loads more. So this is the story of,
it's so...
Do you want to break it down for us?
So Stephen Boyd plays Grant, right?
Right.
Grant is bloke, and he
is bloke, yes.
And he's taken a doctor. He's taken a doctor man off a plane, and this doctor man has important knowledge And all of, like, straight away we're made aware of a good side and a bad side. And bear in mind, this is the late 60s, so there's going to be Cold War stuff going on.
Very heavily Cold War stuff, yes.
Yeah. So, scientist Dr. Jan Benes, played by Jean Delval, he's figured out how to make something work. He's a science man. He's got very important information, right? And then, so he gets off the plane. They're taking him away safely, and then there's a big shootout and a car crash. They've been ambushed.
Yes.
And he's
the baddies have caught him.
The baddies have caught him. He's heavily injured in the process. Eventually, he's taken back to the base of the goodies, and he's in some sort of maybe medically induced coma. He's not in a good way.
Well, he's got a blood clot in his brain.
Yeah.
And they need to cure the blood clot. But 60s technology, obviously, can't cure a blood clot in the brain.
Can't cure a blood clot, but lasers can.
And especially small little lasers that go into the brain. So they've got this technology designed for monitoring fish, but they've got this submarine called the Proteus that they can shrink down. They can shrink it right down for 60 minutes only before it starts expanding again. So they get a crew together featuring Grant, Mr. Bloke, who's like an agent of some sort.
Yeah, he's like an American Roger Moore type man.
Yeah, they get him in because he knows the Doctor.
Yeah.
And because he was a frogman, so he can do stuff.
We need you for security purposes, Mr. Grant. They know they failed to kill Benish. Security thinks they'll try again. First chance they get.
They team him up with a pair of doctors, a surgeon and his assistant.
Yep.
So the surgeon is Dr. Duval, and his assistant, Cora, played by Raquel Welch. You've got Dr. Michaels, Donald Pleasance, a young Donald Pleasance, so and this is very creepy.
This is around the same time he played Blofeld in James Bond, isn't it? And
yes.
And what else has he been? He was the president in Escape from New York.
Oh, he's been in everything. I always think of him as the Doctor from Halloween series, of course, Dr. Loomis. Oh. But he's very creepy in this.
He's very creepy.
Ah, yes. He reminds me a lot of Ash from Alien.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if there was an influence there, because he's very scientific and he's very English. And of course we find out he's got claustrophobia because he was buried in a bomb in the war.
Yes. So, I mean, straight away he's trying to kill them all. He's trying to open the hatch during the shrinking process. And I imagine there's some sort of pressure issue when you're being shrunk and then a man opens...
Well, they're also underwater.
They're underwater. In tiny water, yeah.
So over the period of what feels like several hours... they shrink the Proteus with the crew inside.
Oh, God damn!
They shrink it, and then they very slowly wheel the thing in to very slowly pick it up, and then they move it away, and then a thing comes up, and it's got a big container, and they drop the thing in, and then they sink, and then the thing gets shrunk, and then the wheelie thing comes in, and it very slowly picks it up, and then they very slowly screw on like a needle syringe, and then they very slowly put it in the vein of the man. It goes on for probably half an hour.
It's almost satirically slow. It just takes so. It just takes such a long time.
Just imagine the thing wheeling above. It all feels very, very slapdash, and this was regarded as one of the most expensive sci-fi films of all time at the time. But the set's so cheap. There's no flashing lights, and
it's a very simple room, which kind of adds to it.
It does. In a way, it feels more military, I suppose.
Yeah, it does. And more professional.
Yeah. But this is the time of Star Trek. Could they not have just shoved some blinking lights in?
Some bleepy bloopies.
Yeah.
Some buzzy beam beams.
So they inject the Proteus into the body of the Doctor, and the film changes.
4 men and a beautiful girl, off on a fantastic voyage, actually entering inside the human body, exploring an unknown universe, unknown dangers.
Yeah. Up until this point, there's been no music. It's been very stark, very slow, very
That was
bleak.
That's the thing which hit me more than anything is the slowness of that scene before, and in general what's going on. Having zero music, and then you're like sort of invited into this place of absolute wonder that is the human body. Then you get this mystical, magical music kicking in.
Well, they inject the Nautilus. I'm thinking of 2000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Proteus into the vein, and suddenly the silence is replaced by like water, and then they're into the vein, and they're surrounded by these holographic blood vessels, sort of thing. And then this beautiful, glorious music comes in, and we're on an adventure.
Yeah, that's it.
It feels very 19th century. It feels very classic sci-fi.
It has that feeling of, yes, we're watching a team. Look at the team. Look at them there working together. They're all different, but they're a team.
Yeah, it's got that Jules Verne sort of thing. And then, so they're on the way. They've got a plan mapped out, but things go wrong because of the injury. So they end up having to they can't go straight into the brain. They have to go down into the heart. The heart! That's why I picked the film. Into the heart, and then back up again. So, and to do that, they have to cause a cardiac arrest. And it's just this like, step by step, oh no, this has happened. Oh no, this has happened. Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bus that keeps breaking down until it gets to the brain.
And we keep cutting from the submarine to the command centre.
And
staffed by two military generals who are just straight out of Airplane.
Yeah, they're amazing. They've got the one commander who seems to have scientific knowledge as well. He's very smart. He's got the mathematical genius mind. But he likes to have 10 sugars in his tea, poured out all at once.
He just pours it. And everyone around him goes, "Are you okay?
Okay.
That's a lot of sugar."
Yeah. And then he works out, when they're getting to the heart, it was brilliant. He was like, hang on, according to my calculations, if you take into account the curvature of the heart, blah, 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 what they have is 57 seconds. And you think, what?
Yes.
What?
They're very clever, these people.
They're absolute geniuses.
But the tense bit, which is interesting, I think, looking back, is when they have to go into the ear canal.
Mm.
They have to get up to the ear canal to go into the brain. So they realise that any sound will cause them to chaos. It would blow them up or something. So the surgeons, they don't make them leave the room. No. The surgeons in the room with the body have to stand still.
Like sleeping lions.
They can't move or breathe or make any noise. And one of the doctors is unusually sweaty. This is one of those weird, like, convoluted things. So the nurse next to him decides to mop his brow, and she reaches for a towel. And then she picks the towel. And, oh no, some scissors fell!
The scissors on the floor!
And inside the ear canal, it's like a massive earthquake. I'm like, oh no!
And Raquel Welch, she falls down an ear hole and lands in some follicles, and the blood cells are coming, the antibodies are coming.
Yeah.
The stringy horrible antibodies are coming back, and they get her, and we talk about the scene with the clinging and the body.
They're tightening! I can't breathe!
So Raquel Welch, I suspect they hired her for one reason.
To put her in that white sperm suit.
To put that into that white sperm suit, yes, indeed. It's just a wetsuit, but it's very, very revealing. And it does stick in my childhood brain as well. There was a reason I watched this film. But we're just reading some trivia. The antibodies all sort of get attached to her and sort of to eat her or dissolve her or whatever. And in the scene, they have to rip these like crystallized things off of her body. And all the actors, all the men, all refuse to go for her breasts. So they're all just pulling it everywhere. So she just gets left with a bikini top. So the second take, and everyone went for the breasts. It's ridiculous. I just think, how many, like, are they making these films just do something, I don't know.
The director should be saying, right, you go for the neck, you go for the stomach, and you go for the breast.
Which is what they did eventually. But
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I like during the film there is a very obvious bad guy in this film all the way through, and then but for a split second, because the way all this madness really gets bad is because the laser is broken. They have a laser, and then to fix the laser they have to take a wire out of the radio, which means they can't communicate with the scientists on the outside world.
Yes, and there's a very I think you pointed out very quickly that there is a sense that there is a saboteur on board.
Yeah. It was easy to see that someone was messing with stuff here. What's happened to that laser? It was secured well. And then I had a moment of, oh, who is it? Because it's obviously that guy, but is it too obvious? Is he a red herring? Is it the pilot who's looking very suspicious up there in his little dome?
Yeah.
And... oh no, it's the 60s. It is who you think it is. It is exactly who you think
because
it is.
it's so Cold War. There is a sense of like paranoia about it.
Yeah.
The only other film I can think of off the top of my head is like The Thing, where you're like looking at this crew of people going, yeah, but what's everyone doing? Like the surgeon keeps talking about God and the majesty of the infinite, and you're like, everyone's like, what are you
so
talking
does he
about,
have?
you
Does he
mad?
feel like he has some sort of higher purpose?
Yeah, and then you've got Donald Pleasance, who's just being very aggressively paranoid.
Yeah.
You got Cora, who's kind of just going on with the surgeon, and then the pilot. Yeah, the pilot's a bit shifty.
Quite shady. Yeah, when they're tying that rope, when what's his face, Grant, when he's like when he's flying around the lungs.
Well, they have to refill the air tank, so they shove a big straw into the lungs and suck out the air. And he's attached to the Proteus with the tiniest piece of string, which inevitably snaps when the inhalation takes him.
And after he's like, someone messed with that string, I tell you. And it's like, well, it's a really rubbish string.
Really rubbish
You
string.
can't be going into a lung where it's breathing in and out and expect that not to snap.
Yes. So there's a lot of these fun sort of adventures, and it's all in real time as well. They have 60 minutes to get in and get out. So it's all in real time. You're watching as the clock ticks down. Of course, when the 60 minutes is up, because it's a 60s film, when the 60 minutes is up, it just ends.
That's it.
The film just ends.
It's done.
They regrow, done. Credits.
It was like, I felt like it was almost like they just let the camera roll during the rap party. It's like they shot, and then everyone was like, oh, jolly good show, that's good acting there, and everyone, let's go for a beer afterwards or whatever.
Yeah.
It's done. Credits roll. We don't hear... the doctor doesn't wake up and get a chance to thank the heroes who went into his body.
Yeah. There's none of it. This is the thing. I've heard this before. I don't know how true it is, but they say that the Jaws was the first time there was an actual ending to a big blockbuster film. And you sort of look at these things like this and go, yeah, I can see. Yeah. It just end. It's done.
Done.
Story's done.
We've run out of film. Turn that into a multi-million-dollar picture and get out of my sight.
Yeah. I mean, on the whole, I still like it. It's very slow.
It's the first, like, as soon as it gets into... I mean, I was not gripped at all. I was reaching for my phone during that painfully slow shrinking scene. But as soon as it got into the body, I was hooked, and I was like, oh, where are they going next? That's a really interesting... They made all of the body parts really imaginatively, and it kind of... And like we were saying, the linings of things were like accurate and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of it was shoddy in others. I think the lungs looked a bit crap.
The cotton wool was bad.
Yeah. But then there's these sequences where they're sort of going up veins, and there's these sort of infinitely long tunnels, and it's very like... I know it's 2001 or Star Trek The Motion Picture, where you got these long, complicated like effects. Some of it, I wonder if it was actual like microscopic video or something.
I mean,
especially the heart. The heart was really cool.
The heart was great with those stringy tendons. And I like, if anyone's played Zelda or Ocarina of Time, and there's a level where you have to go into a giant Dodongo.
Fishman.
It reminded
Jabba the Hutt Fishman.
It was like that, the way the doors open, like a valve, and So I wonder if that's been influenced. But anyway, it's a great sci-fi film. It's a great classic sci-fi movie, and if you can endure the shrinking scene, then I'm sure you will love the rest.
I think when you go in for a 60s film, you kind of like take a deep breath and just think, okay, let's get through this bit.
Let's get through
Bond's the same, the old Bonds. They're quite slow to start with.
Yeah.
But yes, all good. So the only thing now, Robert, pick your film.
Is anything coming up?
Well,
is anything coming up? Does it have to be a word? Or do we randomly
needs to be a word, I believe.
Oh, come on. I want to pick one. I want to pick...
For the next... No, there's nothing. Find a book, you.
I don't want to.
Yes, you do.
I don't want to. Fine. Grip of Film.
It's got Richard Iowadi presents Grip of Film. Okay, so it's going to flick through. I'm going to tell him to stop. And then tell him to stop again. Stop. Can you flick it? Stop. Okay. And stop.
Contrast.
Contrast. What's the sentence?
Dialogue. By contrast with our lives must move forward. It can't just drift like a polystyrene crust on a stagnant pond. Let's take an ordinary everyday scene. Do I have to do the scene?
Just do the sentence.
Okay, cool. That was it. Yeah.
Okay, contrast.
Contrast. Oh, boring.
What do you mean boring?
I guess differences.
Yeah.
All right, I can work.
Ebony and ivory.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Contrast, guys. We're
Contrast.
gonna choose a film about contrast for the next segment.
I'm just a sweet screen bucket.
Nick's Game Reviews. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I've not played many Tom Clancy games. I've dabbled in The Division and The Division 2. I've played a few games of Rainbow Six Siege, and I played a fair amount of Rainbow Six Vegas when I was younger. But that is it. In fact, I've been so uninterested in Tom Clancy games throughout that when Breakpoint released, I was unaware of any of the crap that it launched with. Apparently, it was a buggy mess. So, when I was recommended Breakpoint, because it was an offer, I thought, why not? Because I didn't know any better. I put about 10 hours into it and was loving it. Bear in mind I was playing on the Xbox One X, and so I don't know if that had an impact on it performing better. And sure, it wasn't the best looking game, but it was fun. The story was interesting, and other than the odd graphical glitches, the game ran smooth as anything. You can therefore imagine my surprise when I mentioned it on social media platforms that I couldn't understand why more people weren't talking about it, and got a tirade of laughter back at me. I then had a look on Metacritic, and it has a 53% Metascore with a 2.7 user rating. That's not just a little bit shit, that's one of the worst scores I've ever seen. And it's on a game I liked. I had a look through some of the reviews, and the biggest issue most people had was with the bugs. Okay, so I had no bugs, literally none. So I put the overall score down to a poor launch and carried on playing the game. And you know what? I'm so glad I did. This game is not going to win any awards. The story is predictable and secondary to the overall gameplay experience, but it's interesting enough to keep me playing the story missions. The map is quite big, but ultimately quite boring. There's not much variance other than green and white, or grass and snow. The uniqueness of the weapons are relatively meaningless. As it is a looter shooter, you are getting new weapons every 5 minutes, and so you don't know what you're using from 1 minute to the next. All sounds a bit rubbish, right? So why did I put 32 hours into it? Why did I complete the whole story? Why did I put so much time into finding bivouacs and weapons blueprints and weapon attachments? Well, because the game is fun. That's right, fun. Remember when games could be fun even if they were a little bit shit? That's what Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint is. The shooting mechanic is so poppy that it's taken straight from The Division 2. Each area you have to clear out and collect items from is like a puzzle. You can see roughly where everything is, but you have to figure out how to get there, often snaking through a maze of winding corridors, up and down stairs, torching through fences and climbing over broken down buildings. This is a game that is every collectionist's wet dream. It reminds me of Spider-Man in that regard. It's fun to just fly around the map in your chopper, dropping into bases and kicking the crap out of everyone, or every now and then challenging yourself to take out an entire base of enemies without even being spotted. Another reason why I think it got such a poor review was because we have reached that 4-yearly point that Ubisoft face where they will get moaned at for all of their games being the same. Because every 4 years they will get moaned at for being repetitive and boring, and so they'll change things up. As someone who hasn't played a whole lot of Ubisoft games in the last 4 years, I don't have that Ubisoft fatigue. Just to touch on the multiplayer side of things, or more pointedly the PvP side of things, this game is absolutely shining. Each match is a 4v4 challenge of elimination or sabotage, where you obviously have to eliminate the enemy or blow up certain targets. Due to the nature of the game, the matches are far more tactical than your average online shooter, and if matches do go on for too long, the game throws an ever-encroaching gas cloud at you, a la Battle Royale games. In Elimination, there is also a surveillance point where you can hack it to reveal the location of the enemy for a short period of time, just to mix it up a bit. These short matches are surprisingly fun, and if you are bored of or have never been interested in the fast-paced insanity of Call of Duty, then this game could perhaps be a very decent surprise for you. I would give Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint a solid recommendation. It's not worth paying full whack for it, I got it dirt cheap, but I would say it is worth a good £20 or so. Unfortunately, most people will ignore me because of how bad the launch was. But I had fun. That's all that really matters, right?
We want to do something we don't do often, and we want to plug some YouTubers.
Yes, the best YouTubers ever, as far as I can tell.
Aunty Donna.
Aunty Donna. It's a Australian sketch comedy trio.
Yeah.
I think there might be a couple more, actually. I think there's people who are in the old stuff. But they do YouTube videos, they do podcasts. They might be the funniest people ever.
They're just so... It's so silly.
Well, a friend of mine's been telling me about Aunty Donna since I've known him, over a year now. And he references things, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But finally, it sunk in, and he showed me one, or I watched one of their things, and went, oh, this is hysterically funny. And I've now infected the flat.
Oh, I'm scrolling through this. They've got so much content on YouTube, and and every time one of us finds a funny one, we're like, guys, have you seen the one with the sandwich? And
you just hear, I can just occasionally hear Josh laughing in his room, and I think he's watching Aunty Donna.
Yeah.
So usually I hear you do the same. Sometimes I just play the thing really loud.
Oh man, they have this thing. They understand pushing the limits of their faces. They have these facial twitches and movements and wide-eyed stares, and they just push it to an insane level.
They're very. Do you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of cartoon.
Yes.
Sort of expressions. Even just bulging the eyes or like doing a big smile and just these tiny little things that actually make a massive difference.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's different, but it's similar in a sense to like Eric Andre. He doesn't let there's no barriers in terms of like how dumb or like mentally silly things can get. He just do it. It seems like older maybe comedy a couple of years ago there was maybe a barrier to that, but now there's.
I think it depends what school of comedy you're coming from. They're stage, I think. They come from stage stuff, live stuff.
Right.
So they're probably closer to...
Is it almost a bit pantomime, the things
yeah. And so on translating onto screens, like, whoa, okay. There's a lot of, but then most of the humour, I think, is from the editing.
Yes.
I'm thinking of...
Yes, the quick cuts.
Get out of the kiln.
Yeah.
It's just all editing. But apparently they do that live. I've seen in the comments. So I don't know how they do that. Also, the songs, they're very musical.
Yes.
And the first one that really got me hooked was the Got Full on the Cheese.
Oh,
because it's really intense.
It's intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the cheese.
What I think...
I love on cheese.
What I think why it appeals, to me anyway, so probably to all of us, I feel like we've got a shared comedy base that we just haven't explored.
Yeah. I'm almost a bit annoyed that they cracked it.
I know, me too a little bit. Like, the Man Beast one is just full of our favourite pottery smash sound, this one. Which we use all the time. Used to use in our improvs all the time as well. Which was a harks back to Wet Hot American Summer and Red Letter Media. And yeah, there's just this, I think there's this shared pool.
Yeah.
And they've beaten us to it.
So we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do our thing anyway. But yeah, everyone needs to check out Aunty Donna.
What's a good one to start on? Bigoted Bill?
Bigoted Bill is easily accessible. Yeah.
Or the cheese one.
Cheese one's brilliant. The Thai. The Thai one is amazing.
Sammy the Sandwich Boy. I mean, we could just list them.
Yeah. So just
probably the most accessible, I think, is the Kiln one though, because I've shown that to people who weren't that interested in the other ones, and they found that funny.
Oh, fair.
Or Christmas Pud.
Yeah, the Christmas Pud's brilliant.
But anyway, yes, do check them out. We're big fans now.
Yes.
And I'm going to check out everything they've ever done.
Yes.
Touchy, 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 la 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 touchy, Timmy had long arms and he wears a long house. He picks up M&M's and then he drinks the wine and spills it on Brody, Kelly and Mark Banana, who is in the Wizards of Oz, and he did a good job. And I wish that I was dead from some sort of happy matter, looking at the dance and picking up flowers. And Stuart Dolman played policeman for a bit, and we asked Ross Hall, he said he was busy.
Welcome to Fortnite Schmortnight. Kevin Smith has confirmed that Bruce Campbell will be appearing in the sequel to Mallrats.
Mallrats?
Yes, Smith has also confirmed that Michael Rooker will be returning. Smith is currently working on a script for Mallrats 2 as well as Clerks 3. And has been using isolation to finish writing. Let's hope he doesn't pull a Jay in Silent Blob. And
It's a good name for it. Jay and Silent Blob. We should make Jay and Silent Blog.
Yeah. Oh, he'd love that. Clerks 2 was brilliant. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, we watched it together.
Oh,
because
we did, didn't we?
I'd heard that it was rubbish. I don't know who told me that, because it was amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really great film. The Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which came out last year, I believe, was terrible.
Yeah, I've got to say, I didn't really feel the need to watch it.
It was so it was self. What's the word? It was self-aware.
Right.
And Kevin Smith played Silent Bob, and then he played himself. He played himself at Jay and Silent Bob Comic Con event, and it was I love so many of his films, Kevin Smith, and I don't like criticising him because he's been through like heart attacks and things. He's a fan, he's made cult classics, but that film was diabolical.
Have you seen Yoga Hosers?
I haven't. I've heard bad things. So
yeah, he needs to retire, please. Stop it.
Don't bring Bruce Campbell into it.
Yeah.
But here's my problem with Mallrats coming out is like a sequel to Mallrats is if you have the original characters in it, they're gonna be too old and they're not the characters you remember. If you replace them with new characters, which I think is really the only way to go, and maybe have the old characters come and guest in, then they're not the characters you remember, so you lack the nostalgia. So it's kind of...
Do kids even still hang out in malls?
I don't know, I doubt it. It's
going to be old men then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's tough. Like, if he pulls it off, then fair play. Like, it'll be the biggest long shot ever. And no offence, but, that's... Yeah, it's a risky one.
I think Bruce Campbell's just a bit desperate for work. Did you hear he's asking to be put into Sam Raimi's next project?
No, what, in Doctor Strange 2?
He's asking to be the villain in Doctor Strange 2.
He should be. He absolutely should be.
I'm sure he'll turn up as, a guard.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be on the Oldsmobile or something.
He can't not be in it, at any rate. But, yeah. We love you, Bruce. Singer-songwriter and pianist Fiona Apple. Have you heard of Fiona Apple?
No, I have not.
I gave her a listen earlier. She's actually very good. She's a bit jazzy, but she's a talented musician.
Yes.
And she's spoken about how, with an NME, she quit cocaine after an excruciating evening with Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
I think she was dating Paul Thomas Anderson at the time. And this isn't normally the sort of news I'd include in Schmort Night, but it just sounded like an absolutely horrible experience. Speaking to NME, the singer who was going out with Anderson at the time of the event said every addict should just get locked in a private movie theatre with Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson and on coke, and they'll never want to do it again. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that sounds horrendous.
Well, were they just going on about what they love, endlessly?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely what happened. I mean, can you imagine?
That'd be interesting.
Quentin Tarantino putting on these old 70s movies, which you probably might like some of them, but then he's bagged off his...
Yeah, and talking the whole way through.
The thing about this, man, the thing about this scene, which is really, really good.
I mean, I'll be honest, that sounds like the best new podcast idea.
What?
Record Tarantino in a room with someone.
On cocaine?
On cocaine.
Yes.
And we'll call it Quentin...
Cocaine tainted.
Cocaine
Takes you to the movies. Yeah, like, my God.
Cocaine... Oh, yeah. There's something there.
Yeah. My word. Like, fair play. That sounds hideous. But yeah. I don't like this one bit. I don't like the sound of this one bit, Adam. And I don't think you do either. The Shining.
Yes, the classic film by Kubrick that's, really influenced and dominated the world of filmmakers, and
the classic adaptation.
Still inspires conversation today.
Yeah, but regarded by some as the greatest horror movie of all time.
Yep, still talked about. Documentaries made of it.
Yes, iconic.
Oh, iconic is the best.
One of the best performances, I would say. Jack Nicholson's performance was unrivaled.
Peerless.
J.J. Abrams is going to make a TV series of it.
What?
J.J. Abrams is going to make a TV series of it. Yeah.
Why? J.J. Abrams, he's another person who needs to go and retire quietly somewhere.
He likes dipping his pen in old inks, doesn't he?
He is one of these people. This is something I've talked about before. He makes fan films.
Yeah.
And he's going to make a fan film show of The Shining, isn't he?
Yes, he is. HBO Max and Bad Robot are teaming up for the series. It's going to be called Overlook. The series is described as a horror thriller series that exposes the untold stories of the Overlook Hotel.
No.
What are you talking about?
There's going to be a whole episode about people dressed up as bears.
There'll be loads of flashbacks to the 20s.
Yeah.
I don't know, like Stephen King TV shows suck.
I would say, I'd go as far to say that most Stephen King adaptations suck.
Yeah, well...
It's only the ones that break through.
Like Stand By Me and...
Shining, It.
Yeah.
The recent It.
Yeah. I'll say it now, I think every single It sucks, except for maybe the first reboot. I think the original...
Yes, yeah.
I think the original sucked big camel balls.
I completely agree. The 1990 TV film with Tim Curry, so bad.
It was so boring.
I don't know why people rally about it. But yes, I would say all Stephen King adaptations, apart from a very small amount.
Yeah, I mean, Under the Dome, man, is bad.
I've never bothered.
Shawshank is obviously...
Pet Sematary.
It's good.
No, Pet Sematary is good.
No, I thought Shawshank was good.
Oh,
Shawshank's
yeah.
Stephen King, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm saying, Pet Sematary.
It's
bad.
terrible, yeah. But yeah, that's not good. But...
The Watchtower. Yeah.
Moving on to a nicer thing.
J.J. Abrams, go away.
We think J.J. Abrams is currently is Big Poopy Pants, but who we think is not Big Poopy Pants, Big Wonderful Man, is Roger Eggers.
Okay.
Roger Eggers has described how massive his upcoming movie, The Northman, is. The Northman, to those who don't know, will centre around a 10th century Nordic prince that sets out on a mission of revenge after his father is murdered. The Lighthouse and the Voyage director told Collider, "There's many locations in the film, so we were constantly going on scouts to find places that we've found and building sets there. We're designing all these worlds and building all these villages. We're making thousands of costumes and props, training the horses, the things they'll need to do." I mean, he goes on and he talks about how storyboarding is essential to the movie and how most of this movie is storyboarded. So I guess he's one of those directors who doesn't always use storyboarding. But from that description, that sounds like almost Lord of the Rings fantasy level of set design. And
that does worry me a bit because Robert Eggers' Lighthouse was very small.
Yeah, as was
The Witch was small, but not as small. Wasn't quite as claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I worry that going too big too soon...
Well,
might ruin that.
Yeah, like The Witch. I mean, the only reason The Witch really feels bigger is because they went into the woods for a bit. Isn't it?
It's only because it's about a house.
Yeah,
and you sort of whereas the lighthouse is a room basically.
So this is, I mean, but what makes me think maybe he could do quite well with that is imagine like his standard sort of freaky feelings that he gives you and turning that into desolate plains and loneliness and vast emptiness. Maybe he could do
My
something
worry
with
is
that.
it's too big. Like, Jordan Peele did Get Out. Brilliant film. Absolutely, possibly one of my favourite. It's more of a thriller than a horror, but one of my favourites of the last decade. And then Us was... It was too big. It went from small, focused storytelling to big flop. Big, wet flop.
Right.
And I worry that the same thing will happen.
Uh-huh.
But then, you know, I've got faith in Mr. Eggers.
He has not failed us yet. And finally, for those of you who are fans of Jurassic Park, Universal Pictures, Amblin Entertainment and IGN have teamed up to bring Jurassic Park to IGN's Watch From Home Theatre. Watch From Home Theatre is a weekly live show where IGN personalities team up with special celebrity guests to have a digital movie night together with you, watching some incredible movies.
Are they using Cleeng?
Nerd!
Sounds like they've been stealing our...
I know, right?
Oh, it is.
But for Jurassic Park, original star Joseph Mazzello, who played the little poor Tim, who got traumatised by the T-Rex in that car, he will be joining. This will be happening on the 23rd of April, so I believe it's Thursday.
Oh no, he's stuck. He's stuck on the loop.
Thursday.
This Thursday after.
This Thursday,
yes, okay.
After this comes out. Thursday the 23rd of April 2020.
Cool. Is this the first of many, or is this a one-off?
I didn't research it. Anyone on that? Yeah,
right,
so
fine. Fair enough.
Screw it.
Lovely,
Cool.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Adam's Film Reviews. Colour Out of Space 2019.
Look at this.
All those years in the big city, we finally got out. We're living the dream.
Maybe it is a dream.
Then everything just blew up. Big flash, like a pink light. Or actually, I don't even know what color it was. It wasn't like any color I'd ever seen before.
Looks like a meteorite. You think it's radioactive? I mean, it's from space, right? Meteorites are generally no more dangerous than ordinary rocks.
How can something that big just disappear? Did you plant those?
No.
Ward, you come here for a sec.
Oh, God.
What are you doing? Shh. It's talking to me.
Who's talking to you?
A man in the well.
Produced by the company behind the 2018 cult classic Mandy, Colour Out of Space was written and directed by Richard Stanley with a further writing credit for Scarlett Amaris. Adapted from the short story of the same name by H.P. Lovecraft, Colour Out of Space takes an admirable stab at the often overlooked cosmic horror genre, and with future Lovecraftian films in the pipeline. How does this hold up? Somewhere near the fictional city of Arkham, Massachusetts, the Gardner family have moved to the countryside to live a more peaceful life outside the city. Nathan, the family's dad, played by Nicolas Cage, is particularly excited with plans to grow tomatoes and raise alpacas for their milk. Unfortunately, his wife and recent cancer survivor Teresa, played by Jolie Richardson, and daughter Lavinia, played by Madeline Arthur, are much less impressed. Lavinia, in somewhere between teenage angst, isolation and fear for her mother's health, has taken up Wicca, performing spells and rituals to try and protect the family. Sons Benny and Jack, played by Brendan Mayer and Julian Hilliard respectively, are less frustrated by the move, although both appear to have withdrawn from the family. It's in this environment that the horror truly begins. One night, a meteor falls to the ground outside the family's home, unleashing a blinding and unearthly explosion of pinkish purple light that terrifies Jack and spooks the animals. When Ward Phillips, a local hydrologist played by Elliot Knight, raises the alarm that the glowing pink meteor may have contaminated the local water supply, his threats go unheard. Soon, alien-looking pink flowers begin to grow around the family's well, with strange-looking insects appearing as Jack begins to say that he started talking to a mysterious man in the well, drawing horrific alien shapes onto his notepad. Ugh. From this point, nothing goes well. Each family member experiences different side effects, with Benny being unable to control the alpacas as Nathan grows increasingly and uncharacteristically enraged with an odd smell. Each night, the colour returns in a bright burst of colour and light, eventually causing the family serious harm. As Nathan's sanity teeters on the edge, the colour remains, twisting and taunting all life around the farm. A long-time H.P. Lovecraft advocate, it's easy to see that this was a passion project by director Richard Stanley. There's love and passion behind every frame of this film, which, combined with the unhinged performance by Nicolas Cage, makes Colour Out of Space a genuinely memorable film, and that's before we discuss the special effects present here. Beautiful shades of light and visual effects make up the bulk of this film, but where physical props and effects do exist, they're simply breathtaking. In a sort of, I want to take a shower sort of way anyway. Colour Out of Space is genuinely unnerving and feels extremely faithful to the world crafted by H.P. Lovecraft, with haunting reminders of humanity's inability to cope with the vastness of space and life that exists beyond our comprehension. There are shades of the familiar here and there, with one sequence very reminiscent of John Carpenter's The Thing, while Cage's performance feels like classic Cage. There's a lot to be said for this film, but like the film itself, the true horror lies in what isn't being said. And for this reason, Colour Out of Space must be seen by anyone brave enough to try it. Also, special shout out must go to Rob, whose reaction to one scene was to scream and gibber and shake in his seat for several minutes. If this isn't good Lovecraft, buy or rent it tonight. You can get it anywhere. It's awesome. It'll blow your mind.
Everything's gonna be A-okay.
There we go, and that was the show, Robert.
That was it, Adam.
Cool. So, the only thing left to say, really, look out on our Twitter for the film festival details.
Yes.
Go out on Monday. Do check out Quoggers if you haven't already seen it. You can find it, again, holodellmedia.vhx.tv. You can rent or buy. It's up to you. We've got some behind-the-scenes videos in there as well. Yeah.
It's been a wonderful occasion. We hope you're all doing as well as you can, being creative, having fun.
And staying safe. I think that's the key thing.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to us from America, oh my God, what is going on? Stop it. Tell them to stop it.
If you have a mate who's rioting and protesting, tell him naughty.
Yes.
Because people gonna die.
Yeah.
People gonna die because that.
That's the main thing. Like, every now and then, oh God, have you seen this?
Yeah, have you seen what's happening in this country? And I'm afraid to say 9 times out of 10, it's that one to the left of us. Oh well. Just keep safe. Stay inside, you maniacs.
Yeah. And let's hope it all blows over very soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep it together. So do follow us at Twitter at @screen_bucket. Follow Holodell Media at Holodell Media on Twitter and Instagram. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Holodell Media. Oh, sorry, Spreadshirt as well. Spreadshirt.com/Holodell Media.
Just go to all of our things, buy our shirts, give us money. It all goes back into our projects.
In fact, just go to www.holodellmedia.co.uk. Everything's there.
Yes.
Everything is there.
Everything's there.
I don't think everyone knows that we've got that website. So go there, have a look around.
See what you like.
And just keep going, really.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, yes. Have a good one, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
See you in a fortnight.
Bye.